The Denker SCI Balanced Fund has delivered top quartile performance over multiple periods since its inception in May 2017. Such consistent performance across market cycles and macro developments is the ideal outcome for investors. In this video, we cover how, under the management of Madalet Sessions and Jan Mankies, this fund harnesses the best stock picking and risk management skills of all our portfolio managers to find the perfect balance for investors.
I started my career predicting macroeconomic outcomes and realized pretty soon that it is not a sustainable source of returns. So at Denker, I leveraged the team's fundamental stock picking ability for the benefit of investors. We try to avoid the reliance on particular macroeconomic outcomes for returns in order to generate consistent returns for investors. My role as manager of this fund is to allow the best of Denker to shine through. That is the stock selection and the opportunities identified by the bottom-up equity teams to generate the bulk of the returns that our investors expect. My role is really to mitigate reliance on macroeconomic events as a source of return, hopefully allowing investors to sleep comfortably at night.
My main role at Denker is analysing stocks in the South African context from day to day. And as the biggest part of the Denker Balanced Fund, it's obviously a big part of what I do. So I'm actually the link between the SA equity team and the asset allocation team for the Balanced Fund. We don't simply invest in the Denker SA equity fund. We would pick similar stocks and there is a big overlap in our stock selection. But depending on asset allocation and certain risk management strategies that we might favor, these stock selections might differ slightly. So my role is really making sure that the bulk of the alpha generated in the SA equity space also comes through into the Denker Balanced Fund. A secondary role is as part of the asset allocation team and understanding the risks inherent in the stock selection that you have on the SA equity side. I work very closely with Madalet in understanding the risks inherent in that part of the portfolio and understanding the impacts of certain scenarios that we run on asset allocation and risk management.
So we have a highly experienced SA equity team with team members having anywhere between up to 25, 27 years worth of experience in SA equities, and with a proven track record of being able to identify good quality companies at fairly attractive prices. And from that perspective, it's important because that allows you to compound value for investors over time. And Jan and Madalet are integrated directly into the SA equity team. And this is important as obviously they play a big role clearly running the Balanced Fund, and SA Equities forms a fairly large component of the overall asset allocation within the Balanced Fund. And then I think finally it's important to highlight that we run fairly unconstrained, non-benchmark cognizant funds. So that allows our best ideas, our best stock picking ideas to be filtered through into the Balanced Fund, and that allows us to contribute fairly positively to the returns in the Balanced Fund over time.
Yes, we do operate in a very large universe, a global team, and very much like Claude and his team, we continually search for good companies and invest in them when they trade at attractive prices. So our main contribution to Jan and Madalet and the Balanced Fund is to give them access and their investors to a wider range of good global companies. So we look for companies that grow shareholder wealth over time, and because we operate in such a large universe, we place a lot of emphasis on our process and proprietary tools that we've developed to help us identify great companies. We then do the research on the fundamentals to understand how they grow shareholder wealth over time. And if we're satisfied, we continue to track them and invest when they trade at attractive prices.
Firstly, we've been doing this for 30 years, so we've got a lot of experience. The team I've got with me now are been with me 3, 4, 5 years, and we've really grown in knowledge. And so, being bottom up, we just try and find the best opportunities in the world. And the guys work hard. We fly all over the world. COVID was a bit of an exception, but meet management, just try and find companies that will really help us outperform. Where the real benefit comes in is our work with Madeleine, in that her knowledge of or macro background challenges us the whole time in terms of what are the macro risks. So I think the two dovetail each other well, with the bottom-up selection process from us, and then the challenge on the macro process from her.
The Balanced Fund brings to clients the very best of Denker Capital. If you as an investor believe in the people that work here, this is the one fund to buy, because it taps into the experience and expertise of all the different teams. So I think that's the biggest differentiator. On a more narrow side, if I only look at the SA equity area where I am more involved day to day, I definitely think that our experience in the small and mid-cap space is a big differentiator. We've got a long track record in managing equities in that area. And I do believe that particularly where we are and where global valuations are for stocks, I think it is going to play a big role in differentiating our returns from the competition over the medium and long term.
Risk management is not about being cautious. It is about being prepared for curveballs. Jan and I take unexpected outcomes very seriously, and we try and mitigate this and the impact of this on investors. This makes this fund ideal for a wide range of investors, but ideally suited to those looking for long-term returns.